Welcome to this special episode of our program, Daily Debate. As usual, we will be discussing a contentious debate. Today we'll be shedding light on the 8th Youth Conference that took place just on Saturday and wrapped up its activities on Saturday. Many sessions took place during this day. The first session was speaking about the terrorism and its challenges, confronting terrorism and methods and means to be able to confront this very dangerous phenomenon that is not just facing Egypt but the whole world. The second was about the social media and its dissemination and how it can have negative effects and how to be able to put social networks into what could be positive rather than negative ones. The third one was Ask the President, and it was a plain session filled with many questions to the President with very frank answers, and we'll be shedding light on that. We'll be shedding light on the youth conferences at large and the significance of such conferences, of narrowing relations between the leadership and youth, how youth are always the future component of any society to build and shape up its future, and how such conferences is a real platform for such an issue. We'll be speaking about that and more with our guest, Nihal Salahuddin, member of the Presidential Leadership Program. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
And Engineer Ahmed Abdellatif, Quality Control Engineer. Thank you for being with us. And I guess you're both beautiful faces of our youth who are dealing with our future, right?
Kind of.
Yes, indeed. Before we delve into our discussion, first let's have this report and Youth Conference turning opinion into practical activities. Let's watch.
A very successful experience, a very professional one here in Egypt on the sidelines of the opening ceremony. We have all the honor and pleasure of having with us Professor Dr. Noha Bakr, Professor of Political Science. Professor Bakr, thank you so much for joining us here on Nile TV International exclusively. That important platform between the President and the youth, the 8th National Youth Conference comes today as a foundation of communication and trust. And also our youth, our treasure, we're investing in them today.
First, let me thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and honor to be among you here. And yes, this is the 8th conference in addition to 2 further conferences that were on international level and 1 on regional level for African Arab youth.
On the sidelines of the 8th National Youth Conference that is held under the auspices and with the attendance of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, we're being joined right now by Hussein Abdurradi, who's a researcher at the Egyptian Center for Strategic Studies, to update us more on the first panel that was held to actually discuss the issue of terrorism in the region. Now, sir, thank you so much for joining us on Nile TV International.
And for more details, we have with us via phone Nile TV senior correspondent Taghreed Hussein. Mrs. Taghreed, what are the main points tackled in the third and final session of today's conference, Ask the President?
Thank you. Yes, this is considered to be the important and the peak of the one-day gathering that was inaugurated by His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi earlier in the day. A very important session, Ask the President, where people, and especially the youth, raised questions about developing our educational system, about the everyday life in the country. The President answered the different questions with full transparency and clarity, and said that the school, the mosque, and the church all have an impact.
Two great examples of Egypt's youth who have represented the country and raised our flag high at the African Games. I have all the honor and pleasure of having with me Mohab Samer and Mahmoud Mohsen, our two champions for this evening. Congratulations, and I know that they were really moments of honor.
Many of the young people's opinions and initiatives circulated in earlier editions of Egypt's National Youth Conferences were translated into recommendations and then activities and practices on the ground. Egypt's National Youth Conference are high-level interactive platforms that enable direct communication between the state's leadership and all Egyptian people. Youth conferences have set new bases for the mechanism of dialogue with youth concerning all types of issues, including economic, political, social, and developmental issues. It's worth mentioning that youth conferences have gone beyond the local level and have developed to the organization of a global edition of the conference that Egypt hosts annually under the name World Youth Forum, which has earned the praise of the United Nations Human Rights Council through its resolution issued in Geneva last July on youth and human rights. This resolution hailed the Egyptian efforts to organize such international forum and the conference's valuable contributions regarding youth and human rights. Youth conferences are attended by several young participants, including members of the Presidential Leadership Program, university students, young politicians, young engineers working in national projects, young physicians, and young businessmen. Egypt's National Youth Conference represent an interactive platform for the exchange of visions and opinions between state institutions and the youth, without any red lines. They also complement the plans and efforts of the state towards building bridges of trust with the youth.
السلام عليك يا أم البلاد مصري مش جنسية وشهادة ميلاد السلام عليك يا أم البلاد مصري مش جنسية وشهادة ميلاد مصري مش جنسية وشهادة ميلاد مصري أكبر مصري أبقى مهما تجري الدنيا سابقة ليها ألف وألف سابقة التاريخ منها استفاد مهما أقول أو مهما أحكي ليها بس بروح وبشكي علمتني عمري ما أبكي حاضرة دايما في المعاد مصري أجمل باقية زي الساقية تكمل تبتدي تاني وتقوم الصراحة مصري راحة عشقها ضعف المساحة مستمر وراح يدوم مستمر وراح يدوم مصري أكبر مصري أبقى مهما تجري الدنيا سابقة ليها
Right, welcome back, and again let me welcome our guests, and Nihal Salah Ad-Din, member of the Presidential Leadership Program, and Engineer Ahmed Abdel Latif, Quality Control Engineer. Thank you for being with us. Thank you. Let me first ask you about, no, I'll not start with youth conferences at large. Let me speak about the significance of this edition of the youth conference and what have you felt that it really was new? Ladies first.
Okay. Actually, each and every conference has its own significance and its own qualities. So I think this conference was specifically launched in terms of the rumors which has paraded in our society during the past few weeks, if social media and videos and something like that. So having a clear and direct speech with the president himself nowadays, or in such days, was too significant to speak directly to the Egyptian people, which was what are the issues and what were the issues which we are having their minds nowadays. He has felt that there are
Concerns, you mean, and questions and demands and issues that goes inside the mind
yes,
of every youth, hearing lots of issues around. Yes.
and it's not a new thing that have youth conference. You know that every and for more some months we have conference each and every. Sorry,
time. Every
from
time.
period to period we have youth conference. So it wasn't new to the Egyptian society to have such conference, but this conference specifically was for that, in my opinion.
Or you mean here that the significance of that particular conference was that it opened horizons of, or kind of frank and sincere discussion with the leadership.
Yes. Specifically also the audience of this conference was somehow all of them young people. The previous conferences was hosted, or the participants was from all the sectors of the society. This conference especially was for most of the attendance, or most of participants was from the
This
youth.
segment of the society, which is the youth.
Yes.
Right. If we speak about one important issue the president spoke about, and it's not, of course, definitely projects in technology and all that, but he also spoke about education and raising people's awareness. And that was very significant because that reflects at everything. How far did you view such an issue raised of an importance?
Okay, well, the education part is a part which cannot be neglected. No way to be neglected. So one of the points that Mr. President talked about, the effect of social media, which is a part of source gain on the whole society, and how was it a source of defect more than it was a source of positivity. This is an issue of the social media that Mr. President had talked about. A linked issue as well as the education. What's happening in the country right now regarding the education, the care of Mr. President about the education is based on building a new kids with well education, with well knowledge, so they can grow on building the country like the vision of 2013. Actually, it's selected 2013 so that the kids who are in grade
2030, right?
Yeah, 2030, sorry. The kids who are in the first grade right now, in 2030, they're going to be graduated from the school. So here they start having the power to build the society where they would like to live forever.
You know that what you spoke about is totally relevant. When you spoke about raising the social, or rather the social media and its reflection on the society and education and the importance of that, both are very
linked.
Relevant, indeed. When we speak about youth conferences in Egypt, you said that this time was a real platform of frankness between the leadership, and yes, indeed, the president has answered lots of questions, even if they were not really asked. But he was sincere enough to open himself this discussion. If we speak about youth conferences and the attendance of those youth to such conferences, and how this is a platform for more kinds of discussions And I mean, this time it was built on 3 sessions. Before there were many sessions tackling many issues.
You know, this conference was, the participants of this conference was about 1,600 people from different segments, but the more, or the main segment was youth, differently in different sectors, like the presidential program, the directors or the managers of the national projects, doctors, businessmen, young businessmen, and so on. So, like this conference has the spirit of the president himself has felt the specious spirit which has goes through the Egyptian people. Okay, some people has smelled some species, or the species itself has go through the Egyptian people. Okay, so he has felt that it is urgent now to speak to them, to answer, like you have said, he has answered questions, or he has answered questions which wasn't asked, okay? But he has felt that it's urgent for him to speak about what's on the current topics right now. The one meeting or the one-day conference somehow has its own benefits. So the conference was just 3 sessions, as you have mentioned. The previous conference was about 2 days or 3 days. For example, the World Youth Forum continues for or lasts for more
3
than
or 4 days,
yes.
according
This
to.
conference was the first conference which is run on 1 day. So it's a one-day conference, but I think that its own sessions was direct, was focused. You know that Ask the President session is the most prominent, and I think it is the session which is the Egyptian people are waiting for it, because it is it opens the platform for the president to speak. In the other sessions, like the first one and second session, he somehow listens to the speakers, then he has his own comments. But the session of the Ask the President session, we get short and direct messages. It gets to our mind. He has delivered it well.
I'll get back to you because you spoke about a very important point, which is that rumors go viral.
Yes.
I'll discuss this with you after, but let me hear. Those kind of youth forums always are tackle the achievements and challenges the country have been facing. And it is an important platform for discussing where did we start, where are we going ahead, and where did we reach, where we want to be, where we have been, and where we want to reach. How far do you think that takes place, and how far do you think that we are on a right track as a youth?
Okay, first of all, let me talk about the vision. Many youth doesn't know the vision of the country and what's the mission.
You mean the SDG?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Sustainable Development Goals.
Yeah. It's not clear for them. They are getting the data from outsourced sources, which is actually not trusted sources. So they don't have the real thinking or the real image of the country and where we were and where we are up to and what's going on in between. Like, they are not aware of the processes happening in the country. So such forums or such conferences, it's a good chance, and it's simple, with a simple way, with a direct way. Just like Nahal just said, the last conference was direct to the point. It was a very simple way and a very direct way to deliver what's going on in the country, as where we were and what is going on and where we are planning to do. as long as they are aware of what's happening, so they're gonna have the passion to support this vision and this mission. They're gonna have the power to support it. Because simply, if they don't believe in this vision and mission, so simply they will not be a part of it. And what's the president and what's the country trying to do is to involve the youth in any progress situation happening. In any kind of building happening, they are trying to involve the youth so they can believe and they can understand what's going on in the country.
What's the SDG from your point of view?
Well, the progress of the country is going into the right direction by the youth. So
I mean Egypt's vision. I mean Egypt's vision, the sustainable development, the 2030 vision. How do you view it? What is, how do you read it?
I read it simply by the many mega projects that are running in the country. There are many projects that are running more than expected, okay, which is actually supporting the daily progress of the country, the daily progress of the projects. So I believe like in 2013, we're gonna be in a very, in a very much more better location as in the world. Which is actually will support the coming generations as much as possible.
Yes. I'll get back to the Sustainable Development Goals and the developments that we have been seeing during the past and recent years. Before we continue on with our discussion, let's first have a very quick break and we'll come back.
Under the leadership of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, success stories all over Egypt.
مصر في انتظار المزيد من العمل والإنتاج.
New Suez Canal. Developing Sinai. Building on our strength.
القوات المسلحة مسؤولة عن الأمن القومي لمصر.
Building new cities, new social housing projects.
احنا بنعمل أمر التاريخ هيتوقف قدامه كتير.
Developing slum areas. Regaining Egypt's leading role, regionally and internationally. Supporting women empowerment. Engaging the youth.
قيام رئاسة الجمهورية بالتنسيق مع جميع أجهزة الدولة نحو عقد مؤتمر شهري للشباب.
Supporting national industries.
احنا بنتكلم كلام بجد عشان نبني بلد.
Upgrading infrastructure.
الغاز اللي احنا محتاجينه هيتم تدبيره من عندنا هنا من مصر. مصر تستحق منكم اللي ادتكم على مدى آلاف السنين ما أنتم فيه.
Together, we make change.
Right, welcome back. And back to you, Nihad. I said that I'll come back to you. And I really want to know from you, as a youth who is hearing, who is very much involved in the society with different segments, what makes a rumor go viral in the societies, particularly between youth, and how do how do youth base their judgments on such a rumor or a report or a piece of information?
Well, first of all, you know that even each each has its own weapons and its own kinds and images of wars. In our new era, or in this era, or in this age, the kinds or the images of wars has been differently or has been greatly different. So the rumors nowadays spread in a short time or through different ways. The main way of it is the Facebook or social media in general. So one of the sessions, which was the second session, which talked about the effect of or the spreading of lies and rumors and its effect on the Egyptian state, was too important. It delivered its message directly to the normal citizen in the street. So a lot of the studies talks about the term or the new term of the wars of the fourth generation.
Warfare of
Yes.
the fourth generation.
And it somehow seems
It
complicated.
is a mean of the social media. It is part of definitely the fourth generation warfare. Yes, please continue.
So the term itself somehow seems complicated to the normal or the Egyptian people.
Yes, but what I meant here is, why should or how could a youth be very much attracted into a piece of information and a rumor that attracts his own ears and his own thoughts?
Feelings.
And yes, what kind of rumors, or why do youth, I'm speaking about youth
Yes.
because you're youth,
Yes.
are attracted to a certain kind of rumors or information and how do they grasp the ideas coming from such
Because we care.
source?
Simply because we care. Simple answer. The Egyptian youth care about their state. They want it to be better. So, what kind of rumors? The rumors in general, if there is a positive thing about any project or anything, you don't, you will not be attracted to it. It's okay. It's the natural thing to be in peace, to be in good health, to have good education, and so on. But if there is rumors, if there is obstacles, if there is negative sayings about something, it will be spreaded. Look how does it go, and that's why I was talking about the second session in the conference, in which the one of the speaker on the panel has shown videos which was fabricated, which was faked, and how much or how many comments and negative feedbacks it has collected. Because simply we are care about our society. That's why I've mentioned that the Egyptian youth should know that we are in war, okay? And we would be alert that it won't be conquering of the lands no more. It will be conquering of the minds. That's why the president himself was too interested in this session. He has asked that speaker to show more and more, because he has felt that this is the point, or this is the direct message of the conference. He has asked him to show more videos, because actually these videos, the social media, let us be clear and frank, the social media now has a big role and main role, and it shapes the minds nowadays for the Egyptian youth.
That's a problem in itself. That's a problem. Getting back to the National Youth Forum, and definitely during this forum there were much discussed of achievements by Egyptian youth and by the state as well. So by Egyptian youth in science, in sports, particularly in sports, economy, and many other of the country's fields. Now, how far did you see that a positive issue that is being mentioned during such a forum? How do you view how we celebrate our sports athletes and definitely among other achievements that we achieve?
Okay, let us spread the question in two parts. Let's talk about the part of what's the reflect of that on the youth directly, and the other part about the celebration. Actually, what's going on regarding all the positive movements has done by the youth are showing two things. First thing, that there is a passion, which is the fuel of work and work and work. Second thing, they would like to say, like, if you work hard, you're gonna get. As long as you're working hard, you're gonna get what you deserve to have. Okay, so showing or highlighting these examples are a good source of power or a firing power to others that you should work and you're gonna get what you need to have or what you deserve to have. This is the first point. Regarding the celebration, that bad point that the Egyptians themselves, they didn't feel it that much, like we need to celebrate these people more and more and more and more. Because as I told you, it's not just they did a good thing in the field of sports or science, blah, 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 blah. They are a source of passion. So the more you celebrate them, the more you highlight them, the more you show them
that they have a patriotic role to play, and
yes,
you are just pushing them forward.
Yes, you're pushing them forward, and by default, you're pushing the society as well. Like, they are all going into the same direction, having passion, and this passion should return to profit. What's the profit? Profit may be economical profit, maybe educational profit, maybe whatever kind of the profit.
Enthusiasm. Enthusiasm given to youth, which is a big, big force.
Exactly.
Before we continue on with our discussion, let us go to the second report, our second report of the day, and youth conferences, a dream turned into national foundation. Let's watch.
In October 2016, Egypt held the country's first national youth conference in Sharm el-Sheikh with the participation of 3,000 youth under the auspices of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. 8 editions had been organized so far. It began in response to President Sisi's call for convening a national conference for youth, which was launched during the celebration of the Egyptian Youth Day on January 9th of 2016. The conference aimed at bringing together prominent youth future leaders with state officials and institutions, and giving them the chance to directly discuss the present and the future and exchange ideas and experience to support their ambitions. It started as a dream and an idea, and became an event that everyone raced to be part of, until it became a fully integrated foundation that has non-stop production, serving all classes and different youths. The conference did not only focus on young politicians, but youths of different specializations and fields, to include everything that youths dream of, as why would not the dream come true with the existence of willpower and the ability to achieve these dreams, which exactly what the conference implemented. The Youth Conference, through its 8 editions, sought to involve youths more into the state, as it created an opportunity for dialogue between youths and state officials. The conference also reveals so much hidden potential in Egyptian youths, and thanks to their ideas, many changes have been recorded in various fields. It further sent a message that the Egyptian state listens to different ideas and points of view, as the conference is being internationally broadcast, transferring a civilized image of the rest of the world that finally Egypt has a president who does listen to every idea, opinion and opposition through a constructive dialogue. The recommendations resulted by these conferences are already being implemented, whether in political, social or economic fields.
ربنا اللي حميها وتمشى تعشى وخد مركب واسهر عالنيل عمرك ما تحس هنا بغربة مع شعب أصيل وأمانة ما فيش أأمن منها لانصاص الليل اتمشى تعشى وخد مركب واسهر عالنيل عمرك ما تحس هنا بغربة مع شعب أصيل وأمانة ما فيش أأمن منها لانصاص
Welcome back, and back to you, Engineer Ahmed. And we were speaking about youth conferences attended by young participants from all the walk of life, which means from all the segments or the standards of the society. Let me take off how those forums help formulate youth's character. How do they see their future through those conferences that are being held, through discussions that are being initiated? How do you view that?
Okay, well, as I just previously said, that the problem that we have many youth, they are not aware of the vision or the mission of the whole country. To be honest, to me as a youth, I wasn't aware of what's the vision and what's the mission of the whole process which is running on through the country. But once I started attending such conferences and such forums, the vision started being clear. Well, these conferences and these forums are a good chance to interact with all all the government. Here, I'm not talking only about the president. Here, I'm talking about the ministers and governates and everybody who are related.
How did you view the simulations that happened before? I mean, the simulations of governments, the simulation of organizations, because organizations. How did you view how the interaction of youth towards such an issue, how they responded to challenges, and how do you think this reflected on their own personalities when taking things into challenge and into matter?
Well, it's not a matter of taking it on a challenge as more than its point of that we really hear you. Like we're simulating a parallel government done by youth. Like the real ministers are there, the youth ministers are there. Both are head by head, both are having the same discussion, both are having the same vision, but it's a matter of how. Like both knows what they should do, but the youth are thinking about it, how to do it in a way. The real ministers are thinking about how to do it in another way. So here you're almost thinking, or actually mixing the youth thinking with the professionality thinking. Like I'm talking about professional ministers with the small youth who are having power. Here you have knowledge, here you have power, so you're almost mixing them to get a new powerful vision or a new powerful output where it can work. And to be honest, I had the pleasure to attend one of these simulations. Actually, me, myself, I was proud of these youth. Like these youth, they know how to think more than expected. They know how to get out new ideas, how to work for it, how to be a great speakers, how to show power, how to show passion with no fear in front of ministers, in front of the president himself, with no fear. So it was, you know, the challenge was, are these youth gonna speak freely? They gonna think freely? Yes, they did. And to be honest, what I see.
How does it feel like taking the responsibility in our hands? I mean, here, that we are always speaking about challenges the country is facing and very dangerous situations that we are in, the economic challenges, the political one, the situation. How does it feel for youth to take those challenges into their hands and start to think? Put their minds into those challenges and bring some very important solutions from their point of view?
Actually, they are taking their normal role. They are taking their normal mission to do. So they are involved, like in a simulation way, okay, they are involved in challenges, they are involved in problems, they are involved in many negative power that are spread all around many places. So they are taking the part as they are responsible to act for it. So showing this responsibility actually gives them power, gives them passion, gives them confidence. As long as I can talk, I can speak, I can think, and I can deliver these outputs to the government or to the president or to the higher level of the management of the country. So why not? I can think, I can work, and I can deliver variable outputs. To whom? To the government and the president.
To the leadership.
To the leadership in general. So actually, I'm not having anything to worry about. It's just that I should think out of the box, and then any other challenges are just past.
Speaking in the same context, and you know, during those sessions, the president was always keen to sit, listen, and hear. Not only that, but rather also some of the decisions that were taken by youth were adopted in reality.
Yes, that's right.
How did that feel, and how do you think youth can be really contributors to shaping up the future of their own country?
Actually, I agree with Ahmed with the spirit that now youth are in the rule of, or are playing the role of responsibility. Well, each and every, if you have asked the normal citizen in the street about solution, about any problem, he'll answer. The government should do so and so and so. Why don't they implement these solutions? Now, the simulation.
No, actually, what we hear in the street is not why don't they do that, and that they also speak only
As
about the
experts.
negative aspects, never give solutions, and that is a big problem.
No, but
So
I've met a lot of normal people. I don't call them normal or normal citizens. They are experts in the streets.
Yes.
Okay, so each one thinks that he has the magic key for saluting or for solving these problems. I have the magic key to be one of the developed countries in the world. Okay, but when they give the space, they give this space to be responsible for files such as health file, education file, and so on. Now they have felt that, like Ahmed has said, how to act or how to implement the solutions. They discovered that, or they, in practical plan or in practical view, they have discovered that it's not easy, or it can be done because of laws, because of a financial aspect, and so on. So these simulations models has declared that not each innovative or not each dream in your mind can be just to implement it easily or directly. Listening to the youth in front of ministers, in front of leadership, you have said that they have adopted the solutions, and actually many of their solutions or many of their outbooks ideas actually has been implemented.
Unfortunately, my time is out. I wanted really to discuss more and more with you as youths of how you see where we are next time. Next time. Nial Salahuddin, member of the Presidential Leadership Program, and Engineer Ahmed Abdellatif, Quality Control Engineer. Thank you so much for being with us.
It was our pleasure.
Our pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think Youth Forum and youth are so energetic, so pushing to our positive energy all the time. Hopefully that such platforms would continue on, and next youth conference we would really like to discuss more and more. Many thanks for watching. Tomorrow would be another important file with another colleague. Until tomorrow, it's good night.